Fox News Channel senior political analyst. Brit, what do you make of the Pennsylvania numbers that are now coming in that really do reflect that post-debate period? It's still very tight in Pennsylvania.
Well, it appears to be based on the polling, and of course you don't know how many people have already voted before they had the opportunity to watch that debate, which was the most extraordinary debate I can ever remember seeing. I've never seen as bad a performance by a candidate as Fetterman displayed as he's trying to recover from this stroke. And it made it pretty clear, I think, to anybody watching that if you think about the duties of a senator, which means, you know, you got to be able to hold your own in committee sessions, you got to be able to be in exchanges with your colleagues, you've got to be able to get up on the Senate floor and argue for an amendment or against an amendment that may matter to your constituents, and you got to, and there are no closed captions in those proceedings. So it's a job that, as he now is, he really can't do. And it's not surprising to see that Dr. Oz, who's been pretty strongly attacked throughout this campaign, has finally begun to get a leg up on him.
All right, let me turn your attention to the New York race for Patrick Maloney's seat against Mike Lawler. But it also touches on a larger subject, which is that we hear a lot that there are X number of hundred, quote, election deniers. Biden talked about it the other night. The president spoke about it the other night, and that they threaten democracy. So there's an interesting exchange between Maloney and Jake Tapper, because Tapper, in the context of that conversation, brought up, hey, what about the fact that the Democrat Party's fundraising arm gave a lot of money, boosted in his language, some of these more MAGA candidates because you thought they might be easier for the Democrat to beat. So that's the setup. Here's what they said.
Oh, my God. Jake, let's be really clear. What that question you just played was about was who's questioning the outcome of elections. And that started with Donald Trump.
You guys were boosting John Gibbs, an election denier, a MAGA Republican. You thought Gibbs would be easier for your Democratic candidate to beat, so you boosted him.
Well, you're using that word boost to be kind of cute. Other people say we're kind of funding their campaigns. It's ridiculous. We're attacking them.
So that strategy may turn out to have been a faulty one. Brit, what do you think about all that?
Well, the fact that some of these Trump-backed candidates called MAGA candidates may win, it doesn't mean that the alternative candidate might have won bigger. But nonetheless, if these people, Carrie Lake and others, Carrie Lake out in Arizona gets elected governor and so on, if they get elected, it does suggest that the strategy was not sufficient. But remember, Martha, the gravity, as Tom Bevan so ably pointed out earlier in this race, favors the Republicans to a degree that I was around during '94 when the Republicans gained 54 House seats and took over the place for the first time in 40 years. I was around in 2006 when the Republicans lost, I think, a net of 31 seats and surrendered control of the House chamber. So that's all a backdrop for this, and 31 is about what is considered the outside range of possibility for Republican pickups here. Why isn't it more, you might say, if you look at the landscape, the issues, the president's standing, the fact that it's a president's first midterm, you think this ought to be a huge sweep. A couple of things, Martha. One is Republicans did pretty well in the House in 2020. We at Fox came out early that night and said that the Democrats were going to gain seats. Well, we weren't the only ones saying that. Mm-hmm. The Democrats lost 14 seats. Republicans gained. So there was a lot of low-hanging fruit there that got picked off already. And in the Senate, remember this: there are 14 Democrats up and 21 Republicans are up. So the opportunity for Republican pickups is much smaller than it might be in a different cycle when a different range of senators is up. So yeah, those things cut against the Republicans in this race.
It's absolutely true. That's why it only takes 6 seats for Republicans to take the House, because they already picked up a number of them in the last round, as you accurately point out, Britt. Quick question for you about the stories today that the former president will announce that he's running again, and that announcement could come as early as a week from Monday.
Well, we've been here before when it was thought he was on the verge of announcing, and then he didn't. This all may be true, and he may do it. And of course, with Trump, the problem with trying to assess reports like this is that Trump would probably not be behaving any differently if he'd already announced, because he likes to be and wants to be the center of attention at all times, whether he's on the ballot or not. So it's hard to guess from his behavior, and I'm not going to venture to say whether I think he's actually going to do it or not, but I will believe it when I see it.
All right, Brit, thank you. As always, great to have you with us today. We'll see you soon.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.